a thobela le amogetšwe go Leihlo La Sechaba lebitso la ka ke nna Lethabo le Joy la Gamathato. Afrika Borwa e tla dira segopotšo sa kgwedi ya kankere ya molomo wa popelo fao ba tlhotlheletšago basadi go dira diteko go thibela bolwetši bo. Kankere ye ke ya bobedi go tlwaelega gare ga basadi ka mono Afrika Borwa e kgona go thibelega ebile e alafega bonolo. Good evening. Cervical cancer is second most common cancer amongst South African women. It is also the most preventable and most treatable form of cancer.
Kankere ya molomo wa popelo ke nngwe ya dikankere tse di tlwaelegileng thata mo basading ba Afrika Borwa, mme ebile e ba bolaya ka bontsi. Le fa go ntse jalo, ke nngwe ya dikankere tse di thibelegang le go alafega bonolo, mme go maikaelelo a go e fedisa. Go matsholo a le mantsi mo nageng a tshwaraganetsweng ke puso, ditlamo tse seng tsa puso ga mmogo le dikgwebo go tshwana le Can Survive go lemosa baagi ka bolwetse ba kankere le tsela ya go bo thibela.
I was diagnosed with cervical cancer at the age of 40, but I had issues from the age of 16 because I did not know gore go etsagalang.
A cancer is not a death penalty. It doesn't mean how nani kankere, then that's it. We still have means and ways to try and treat the cancers.
Go ya ka pegelo ya Statistics South Africa ya 2018 ya kankere, basadi ba ikarabela go diperesente di le 51.3 fa banna le diperesente di le 48.6. Pegelo eno e akaretsa dipalo tsa batho bao ba tshwereng ke kankere ga mmogo le bao ba tlhokafetseng ka kankere magareng a dingwaga tsa 2008 le 2019. Leihlo La Sechaba le ne le etela mongwe wa basadi ba ba falotseng kankere ya molomo wa popelo ebile e le lekola Can Survive.
Ke gotse ka banyana ba bang fela ko sekolong ha ne nako ya ka ya matsatsi e tla ne ke sa kgone go tshwana le ba setsana ba bang ke ko sekolong. Ne ke dula bo 10-15 days because nearly overflow. I came from a very underprivileged background, I would say that, could not afford even pets.
A re seno se ne sa tswelela go fitlha a le dingwaga di le 12 mme batsadi bona ba motlela ka dikakanyo tsa fa gae tsa go ikalafa gonne ba ne ba sa itse gore ke mofuta ofe wa bolwetse.
Bagolo na batla ka dirata tse dingwe ba nna ba re motse maybe halapa re dula mo dimaanyentse irayana ba go re le ka dilo tsotlhe mara go sa nne betere ene se se nketsa gore ke gole je ka mosetsana o kwatileng because ne ke ipotsa gore this is nature, why nna e sa tshwane le basetsana ba bang, why nna tshwantse ke palle go ya sekolong, why tshwantse ke kobege ke be le so much pain. Little did I know, because now I know, gore there was a little monster growing in my little body e bitswang gore ke human papillomavirus.
A re go leka go lwantsha matsatsi a dikgwedi a bomme a bokete o ne a fetola bophelo ba gagwe.
Unfortunately, after 30 years, I was already working, had medical aid, changed my lifestyle, went for gym. Maybe condition ya ka etsa ke lifestyle. Little did I know.
A re go botlhokwa gore basadi ba tsamaye dingaka go itlhatlhoba mme ka dinako dingwe o dirise madi go dira diteko tsa madi go tlhola malwetse otlhe go akaretsa le kankere.
And I just decided go ya go Dr. Owami2. We were using the building podium as our church. And I explained to him, but why the issue is so and killing kitsamaya by control fela, but I'm not getting better. And he suggested Pap smear.
Moraga malatsi o ne a boela kwa ngakeng go ya go fiwa dipholo tsa ditlhatlhobo.
Ha di results di tla ahead, stage 3, very aggressive cervical cancer. But the grace of God, I went for my surgery ya pele, operation ya ba successful. Na ba prescribe le gore ke kry chemotherapy say 8. So usually how le mo chemotherapy you are checked every now and then, the blood flow and all that. Unfortunately, on my 4th cycle, my cancer was back.
A re bolwetse ba kankere bo tlisa kgatelelo ya maikutlo.
I was diagnosed with cervical cancer at the age of 40, but I had issues from the age of 16 because I did not know gore go etsagalang. Gore ke bolwetse mang. 20 years here I am, I met my late husband. I'm a widow now for 23 years. I must say, it affects you even emotionally. Because if Kiriki is a widow for 23 years, since Monaka Tlokofala, I've never been with somebody else because of what has happened in my body.
Lefapha la boitekanelo le dira ka gotle go tlhatlhoba balwetse ba kankere kwa ditleliniking tsa selegae ga mmogo le maokelo a magolo go tshwana le ba Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital kwa motsesetoropong wa Soweto. Go semagana le bolwetse ba kankere, bookelo ba Baraga jaana bo na le karolo ya kankere e dirisana le University ya Wits go thusa baagi ba Soweto le mabapi. Mongwe wa dingaka tsa lekala la kankere o ne a re amogela kwa tleliniking ya balwetse ba kankere.
Bara is a big hospital, and I mean one of the things that we do is we take care of cancer patients here at Bara. I am actually more on the gynecological side, so meaning I focus more and I concentrate more on the gynecological aspects of the cancers. But within different departments, Bara, we have surgical cancers, we have hematological cancers, so your blood cancers. We have different types of cancer specialties.
O ka ya fa mefuta mengwe ya dikankere e bontsha ka matshwao mme batho ba tshwanelwa ke go ela tlhoko.
Some cancers can actually give you symptoms before, so meaning you can actually have presentations or things that are suspicious or you can have a cancer. For an example, something like an endometrial cancer, which is a cancer ya pupelo, the inside of the womb. Those ladies tend to actually present with bleeding abnormally. And this cancer is usually common in elderly ladies, so ladies who are actually old, who no longer have their menstruation, then out of the blue you will start seeing bleeding.
A re fa go le jalo, molwetse o tshwanelwa ke go etela kwa ngakeng go itlhatlhoba.
Cancers like cervical cancer, which is cancer ya molomo wa pupelo, and those cancers, they can also, you can then have the young people actually presenting with those cancers, unfortunately. And what we normally see, we see them bleeding abnormally, and they will complain of pain. Some of them will just complain of a discharge that's offensive, so that's foul smelling. So it differs, on all those things. Things like ovarian cancers, which can be in the young and in the elderly, they can start presenting with abdominal distension, so abdomen can start growing, or they can say, there's a tumor that's in that abdomen.
Ngaka Maringa a re gantsi kankere e ka tlisa tshwaetso ka ntlha ya go amiwa mo mmeleng seo se bidiwang human papillomavirus kgotsa HPV. Karolo ya kankere kwa bookelong ba Bara e tlhatlhoba basadi ba le bantsi ka beke.
We are actually one of the countries that actually are leading, when it comes to cervical cancer. So our region, basically, which is the sub-Saharan Africa, that's where, we see cervical cancer being most common. And because of a variety of things, I mean, as we would know that the sub-Saharan area of Africa, that's where, we have the highest numbers of people who are HIV positive. And cervical cancer actually, unfortunately, goes hand in hand with HIV positivity. Okay. The uterus looks normal. Okay.
A re go botlhokwa gore fa motho a tshwaetsegile ka mogare wa kokwanatlhoko go tlwaela go dira diteko ka metlha.
This is the reason why it's always advised for people who have HIV to go for pap smears regularly so that we can try and prevent it.
Go botlhokwa go dira diteko tsa go bona fa motho a na le matshosetsi a go ka nna le bolwetse ba kankere segolo fa a na le mogare wa kokwanatlhoko.
People who actually have had sexual relations, or people who are sexually active and they are HIV positive, they should actually start doing pap smears. Why? Because, as I said, the risk is higher on those people. But the South African guideline generally says that if you are from the age of 30, you should at least have a pap smear, within every 10 years. So within a 10-year period. So meaning from the age of 30 to 40, from the age of 40 to 50, and from the age of 50 to 60. You should have pap smears around those times.
Cervical cancer, for pap smear regularly. Because HPV vaccine is expensive, ke gone e introducewang yana mo bathong ba rona a isang e be teng. The main thing ke pap smear, and batho gagologolo ba tshwanetse ba etse pap smear ke batho ba leng sexually active, and I'm sure you can agree bana ba rona today from the age of 12 they're already active.
Ga jaana Mamarei o dira kwa bookelong ba Chris Hani Baragwanath mme o rotloetsa balwetse bao ba fetsang go bolelela gore ba tshwerwe ke kankere. A re boitlhatlhobo bo thusa go lemoga le go tshemagana le bolwetse ba kankere nako e sa le teng.
Pap smear helps us gore if go na le any HPV that is growing in your body, it detectiwe nako e sa le teng. The saddest part ko gore this morning gape ke tswa ko one of the clinics, when you educate and encourage bo mme gore ba etse pap smear ba go bolela gore botlhoko. I had to explain in details, and how mbolela gore ba tlo etsa yana le yana o bona ka re ke ntwe kgolo. It's not. Cervical cancer is the second killer in women, and I tshwanela go ba yalo because as long as we do our pap smear, that can be prevented and know our bodies.
Ga jaana o fa balwetse tshegetso fa ba mekamekana le bolwetse ba kankere fela jaaka le ene a ne a tshegeditswe ke mmaagwe fa kankere e ne e mo tlhasetse. A re bafalodi ba le bantsi ba kankere ba ipopile ngatana mme ba tsamaya ba rotloetsa basadi go itlhokomela. Ngaka Maringa a re gantsi batho ba itlhatlhoba bolwetse bo setse bo phasaletse le mmele.
Before it becomes cervical cancer, you have changes on the cervix, molomo wa popelo, where we can see, I know this could be a problem. Then we can treat those changes or those abnormalities. Unfortunately, because most people do not go for these screening tests and these pap smears, by the time they come to us, it's already late. So the cancer has already, it has already changed to form cancer.
Le fa go le jalo, ba kgona go simolola ka kalafi ya bolwetse bona. Le gale gape go ya ka gore kankere e mo karolong legato lefe la bolwetse.
If the cancer is still confined to the cervix, molomo wa popelo, and it hasn't spread somewhere else or anywhere else, it all depends if does the lady still want to have children, because as I said, it could be young ladies. If they still want to have children, we can just do what we call a resection of that cervix, or meaning cut out all the whole cervix or cut out a big chunk of the cervix. If this is someone who's actually older, who no longer worries about having children, re ka ntsha popelo yo yotlhe le molomo wa yona. Okay, and then they are cured, or they could be cured.
Mme dinako dingwe gongwe kankere e be e setse e phasaletse le mmele.
So then we cannot operate those ones. Then we can use something called radiation or chemotherapy. So radiation is where we use specialized X-rays to, for lack of a better word, to try and actually, shrink or treat that cancer so that it does not spread and it does not grow. And then chemotherapy, it's medication that we use for cancer. But when we're talking about cervical cancer, the most common type responds very well to radiation if we cannot operate it. So meaning what we want to operate. If unfortunately we can't, then radiation and chemotherapy are the other methods that we can use to treat.
A re baagi ba itse fa ditirelo tseno tsa boitekanelo di sa duelelwe.
They are for free, these services. Our clinics, so the clinics that are in their communities, that's where it's even accessible. They don't have to come to a big hospital like us or batlo etsa di pap smears. They can go to their clinics, and it's something that is it's known as screening for women. And now being a Women's Month, we actually encourage ladies to go and do pap smears. Balo etsa di pap smears so that ba tsebe hore ho etsagalang, before it's late, where we actually cannot treat those abnormalities.
Profense ya Gauteng e dirisa bookelo ba Steve Biko Academic kwa Tshwane go semagana le bokone ba Gauteng ga mmogo le ba Charlotte Maxeke mo Johannesburg go semagana le borwa ba profense ka go neelana ka kalafo ya marang. Le fa go le jalo tlhologalo e santse e le ntsi.
These two hospitals are, they are overburdened because the populations are large. And it's not only taking care of the population in Gauteng. There's neighboring centers like Mpumalanga that don't have radiation centers, so meaning you have those patients that have to come this side to be treated. Although Limpopo has actually done well in terms of now starting or having, that part of care, but you still have a lot of these patients coming, crossing the borders to come and be treated. Northwest has a radiation facility, but also, as I'm saying, it's one facility. So you still have those patients coming this side.
A re go santse go tlhaela mafelo a mangwe a alafang ka maram mo diporofenseng tse dingwe tsa naga. Lefapha la Bosetšhaba la Boitekanelo ga jaana le boloditse lenaneo la bosetšhaba kwa dikolong tsa puso go semagana le matshwao a kankere pele e nna bolwetse mo basetsaneng.
So girls from the age of 9 to the ages of 14 will actually, be presented with such an opportunity to get HPV vaccine in their schools. And this is mostly girls who are in public schools. So we also urge the parents to allow these kids, because Koskolong, they will give them what we call an indemnity form, so that they sign this indemnity form, because studies from other countries where they've managed to reduce cancer so much have shown that this HPV vaccine really helps in reducing cancer and the burden that it causes, that it causes to the government and to the population at large.
A re fa kankere segolo e tshwaetsa makgarebe le bomme ba ba dirang, seno se tlisa kgatelelo mo ikonoming ya naga gonne balwetse ba fetsa nako e ntsi ba sa kgone go ya ditirong.
So if those people are off because now they are sick, and also the fact that it's more expensive to treat cancer than to prevent it. So because once it's now cancer, all these methods that I've mentioned, what we can use to treat cancer, it's not something that's done on one day. It's multiple days. And then on top of that, you still have to follow them up as well. And all these things that I've mentioned, they are available in the public sector, but they cost money. They cost a lot of money. And so, it's people that actually, it comes from the state coffers, from the tax of the state, to pay for all these things. So if it's better for us to prevent so that we don't get to that point where we have to treat.
Cervical cancer, it's a human papillomavirus. Human papillomavirus, it's a virus that grows in a body of a girl child. And but even more effective for the girl child. I'm sure you say these days, on a campaign where they vaccinate girls from 9 and 10. 9 and 10, it's because of they're not yet sexually active.
Mama Ray a re nngwe ya dikgwetlho tsa bolwetse ba kankere ke kgethololo segolo thata go tswa go balosika le ditsala. A re le gale o ne a tshwarela monna wa gagwe a santse a le mo bophelong.
The best part, I'm also a product of forgiveness. After 5 years, he came back. I forgave him. I also forgave my mother-in-law. But unfortunately, she also had the very same cancer in Alinyona, and azanga I disclosed. I only knew at deathbed. Doctor, I can see. I've been through this journey. I can see Limo Mama Linte. Talk to me. Our family next. Unfortunately, when the doctor disclosed for my mother had cervical cancer, it was too late. He died. Because he thought Horakamotwarela.
A re o thusitswe ke tshegetso go tswa go bafalodi ba kankere kwa Parktown.
I would never not mention this because I never thought I'll have kids. My first pregnancy and second pregnancy was difficult, but God kept me. For today, I'm interviewer and make a difference and touch lives. Let's talk. So I'm thing. People will always gossip. Speak. Don't be silent. I was silent for 4.5 years because I was rejected from the church by people that I trusted the most. So how we need this I confess. So cervical cancer is there. Women must just come out. Bomme, I want to encourage, especially parents, needy families. A vaccine is available. It is expensive, but you can afford. We spend so much money on many things. The good news now, we can also give it to boys. Because remember, when a girl has anally HPV, without sexual, it transferred to the boy. So if Mishimanuk really vaccine you, how protecting protecting the girl in contact. So really, the stats of cervical cancer and the stigma can be broken if we are not silent.
Ngaka Maringa a re o itumela thata fa a bona molwetse wa kankere a setse a fodile.
That's what drives us to do this kind of a job. It's so nice. Like there's no amount of money or no amount of, I can't explain it. But because of the fact that, you know, we are pro-life, we want people to live and have a good quality of life. So meaning those are the things that drive us as doctors to make sure that we help our patients, we help our people so that they become better and they live and they have a good quality of life.
Le fa basadi ka bontsi ba tlhokafala ka ntlha ya kankere ya molomo wa popelo, gone go bontsha fa bolwetse bo ka thibelwa bonolo fa basadi ba itlhatlhoba ka nako.
Ke ka fa re fitla mafellong a lenaneong la rena bošegong ba lekgono e ba le rena gape bekeng e latelago mošupologo seripagare go tšwa go iri ya seswai gona mo go SABC 2 gopola gabotse gore o ka re ngwalela email go leihlo la setšhaba @sabc.co.za o ka boledišana gape le rena go letlakala la rena la Facebook. Mananeo ka moka a rena a leihlo la setšhaba a kgona go humanega go YouTube. Go kwa ka lenaneo le latelago netefatša gore o theeletša Thobela FM, Lesedi FM le Motsweding FM mošupologo mesong ipsine ka mananeo ka moka a latelago gona mo go SABC 2 ba re motswa gabo ga laele a ebe boroko.